Hello and welcome to Team Franco Bodybuilding Podcast. This is Joe, of course, and I want to thank you guys for listening and opening up this recent podcast. As you see the title, Coaching Types, Teachers versus Babysitters. Which one is basically best for you? So what I'm going to do today is go over an an overview of what each of them are, what they entail, my personal experiences, and basically for you to make a decision what you think is best for you. If you're looking for a coach of any sort for any sport, obviously I'm going to be talking about bodybuilding, contest prep, and again, you heard me for the 1,000th time. When I say bodybuilding, I'm talking about all the divisions, not to leave anyone out. That includes bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique, women's physique, figure, bikini, and now wellness. Okay, so bodybuilding to me is just building your body, and then whatever division you pick is great. So I'm going to begin and talk about, obviously, if you know me, you know what I lean towards, but I also may surprise you because I was one side way back when in the beginning, and that was for reasons. But then you learn, and you learn to adapt, and then you learn what you think is best for people in your own style of coaching. So, way back when I first, started personal training, because that's way back when I first started working with bodybuilders. And now these were bodybuilders. These were male athletes looking to compete for the first time. And you've probably heard me in different podcasts or over the years talk about it. You know, I had maybe 5 or 6 different guys that were from Bucks County all the way up to New Jersey, northern Jersey. And they would come to the house, and I would actually personal train them. This was before online coaching. And I used to go to their shows. I would literally, we would make a day of it, or even a night. I would travel with them, and I would go to their show for support. Also for the love of bodybuilding and how natural bodybuilding was really starting to grow back then. So I wanted to go to shows, and I had the time. And this also was before I would start using, flexible dieting, macro counting. Yes, believe it or not, I was a meal planner type coach. It was not until maybe 2006, I would say, when I started embracing it. And coincidentally enough, that's when my online business started picking up steam. But I digress. So when I first started out, I would pretty much consider myself a babysitter coach. And the key word, starting out, where I had these few guys, and I would write their meal plans, obviously their workouts. I would train them once a week or whatnot, even do their posing routines, when that used to be a big deal. And I was good at it, okay, except for one fellow who I'm still friends with today. His posing was better than mine. I'm just going to say his name's Anthony. He was a master at posing. So, but the rest of the guys, I would do their routines and all that. I was the guy pumping them up backstage. I was, yelling at them on the stage. And that was what I did back then. And it was because, I loved doing it. But at the same time, as my business began to grow and, diet tactics started to evolve, I then was thinking, there's more teaching involved instead of babysitting. Okay, so when that time happened, I started picking up more online clients. I mean, I talked about this ad nauseum about, the last financial crisis, not this one. Back in 2008, my personal training business took a major hit. I lost, about 35% of my clients. And it was tough, but then that was a blessing because I put more energy in online coaching, all that stuff. And then as that started building up, and this is the key word, working with a variety of more different type people, men, women, all sorts of ages, different goals, different times in their lives when they wanted to compete. So back up for a second. When I was working with those bodybuilders, they were almost all in the same age range, except for a couple of them were a little bit younger. They were 10 years apart, but most of them were around the same age range. So yeah, I was guilty. There was some cookie cuttering going on there with their diets, where I would just tweak their cardio, or maybe have them do one less carb meal, and it wasn't too personalized. It was cookie cutter with the babysitting type training that I did back then. All right, so move back up to 2008, 2009 when I focused on my online coaching. So you see, the more people and the more variety that I was having, I was learning to be a teacher, not a babysitter. Because yes, one, you learn different body types, okay? So that's why flexible dieting was such a valuable tool. But also with that, when you have more clients, you can't be babysitting as much, because you understand that when you babysit, it takes up more time. And I get it. When coaches first start off, they get super, super excited. Not someone like an old dog like me that doesn't get excited. But if you have 5 clients, 10 clients, in total, and most likely maybe you're a personal trainer on the side, or you have another job on the side, you have that little bit extra time to actually babysit. But if you're eclipsing 50 clients, 100 clients, 150 clients, whatever it is, are you really able to have that babysitting mentality? Most likely not. And that's when you become a teacher. And teaching is basically my philosophy of coaching now. So I was a babysitter type coach, starting out, doing whatever I can, and all that stuff. Now I'm a teacher coach. But this real significant difference, and I'm going to, go over the pluses and minuses. The one difference that I have, learned is that when you are a teacher type coach, you're teaching that client responsibility. You're giving them tools that they can use without you, right? I mean, isn't that what teachers do? Like school teachers even, or of any sort. You enter high school, first grade. They teach you the basics. As you get older, you teach things that are more specific to maybe what your career will be. And then you go on. They give you the tools. These teachers are not taking those tests for you. They're not going to be holding your hand when you're out in the real world. So, versus a babysitter, where the babysitter type coach, you got to rely on them. They have full control. And I think it's also an ego thing, okay? Yeah, when I was first coaching these clients years ago, I seen them on, this was like, internet was just getting going. It wasn't about posting pictures, but I was like backstage and like, oh, you're Joe Franco. Yeah, you coach this guy, that guy, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it blew up my head. It was a great ego boost, when I wasn't competing at that time. And like, oh, he just, because I had guys at win shows. They're like, oh, he won. You're a great coach. Da, 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 da. Well, honest to God, I mean, that was me then. And I don't know, I'm glad I evolved, because now as a teacher type coach and teaching them responsibility, my goal and my job, and if you're a client of mine listening, or if you've heard of me, is for you to look your all-time best, to be stage presentable, have a good time, and give you the opportunity for you to want to do this again and continue to evolve and continue to get better, winning or not. I mean, I have clients that still win their pro cards. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to flaunt it on social media all the time. And, I let the clients speak for themselves. Because, again, you look at professional type coaches, okay, not teachers themselves, like from first grade to senior year in high school, but coaches teaching professional athletes. Those athletes pretty much know what they're doing, and the coaches at that point, they plan and they manipulate to put the player in the best position strategically and all that. But those type of coaches, professional coaches, they get accolades from winning, sure, being successful, yes, but they're not showing off their clients, aka athletes. I mean, you've never seen. Give you an example. If everyone loves Tom Brady, but Bill Belichick is not posting, "Oh, look what Tom Brady did this year," or this great game, even though he's not with the team anymore. It was just that's what came to my head. Or Aaron Boone for the Yankees. He's not boasting about how great Aaron Judge is doing this year. No, he's not taking credit. He's obviously coaching them, player positions, psychological type stuff, protecting them so they don't get injury, but they're not hovering over them like a babysitter would, okay? A babysitter, as you know, job when you come over to your house, you hire someone, is to protect that child, do whatever they can at that moment, and basically let them play, but make sure they don't get out of control. So there are a variety of different types of coaches out there. And honestly, I was one of them in the beginning, but there was no way in hell that I could maintain that because my business grew. Yes, that's true. So that's why I also involved in wanting to be more like a teacher type coach, because teaching responsibility, longevity is near and dear to my heart, but also I can't go to all my clients' shows. I have clients all over the country, which is great. But even in the beginning, of my online coaching, I was losing clients because they wanted me to go to the contests. I remember one, it was like the first one. It was a woman, she lived in Connecticut, maybe a few hours away from me, so not too far. Everything was great. Then basically she said, all right, my contest date is August 13th, whatever. And she's like, are you able to make it? And I was like, no, actually, it's a couple weeks before the show I promote, and I'm kind of busy. And back in my head, I'm like, I'm going to lose this potential client because I can't go. And then I wrote her back. I said, unfortunately, due to my schedule, it's kind of hard. You're not really close to me. But ultimately, my goal is for you not to need me on show day. Okay? And that is my goal. I mean, if I can go to every single show, I would. But being a teacher type coach, prep coach, when it comes to all this, my job is for you to be so prepared that you don't need anyone else. Meaning that all the meals are written out, when to pump up is written out, your water intake is written out, and as they know, if you're a client of mine, texting me. I have my phone all by my side on that Saturday and Friday night ready for anyone's text or even a phone call, just in case if something comes up they need to discuss. That is totally cool. But to travel, I give these coaches that do that much credit, I mean, believe me, I do. That's a passion of theirs. And there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with hiring that type of coach that wants to protect you over the top and all that, because that's what you're paying for. Maybe you're paying a little bit money for it. Hey, that's great. No issue at all. What I'm talking about is to give you my perspective, my opinion, but also maybe what you're looking for. Maybe you are looking for that person that's going to be there for you all the time, okay? Or maybe you're looking for, as long as I get my workouts prescribed, the check-ins and all that on time, on point, then I'm good to go. Because, the negatives, at least for what I call the babysit contest prep coach, and I've seen it, I've seen it at my shows that I judge, and I've used this example before in my posing class, is that I'm sitting at the judging table, and then a group of men's physique competitors come out, and you're cheering them on. I would cheer my client on. Go number 12. Come on, show them your stuff. There's all Chase again. Sorry for the interruption. That was actually my father coming over, dropping off cannolis. It must have been cannoli day at Altamonte's. So what I was saying is that, when I've seen in class, and at least what I tell in class, and when I'm at the judging table, is that you'll see most likely coaches yelling for their clients, getting them all pumped up, which is great. You cheer them on. But the minute that you tell them, keep your chest high, twist a little bit more at the waist, no, tense up this, smile, I mean, yeah, I get it. First time competitors that get nervous and everything, but did you really do your job that you need to remind them while they're on stage? Because when you're judging, you hear that. And then you may look at that person and they're twitching and doing all types of funky shit. And most likely it's too late. So you understand that point of that I'm trying to get across? I bring it up at class all the time. Therefore, when you're judging, you hear that, they get attention drawn to them. I had another pause because the dog was barking. And it's not a good look. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to make that much of a difference, but maybe I'm cynical and I hear it and I'm like, well, that's not cool. I mean, hopefully they were prepared for this one day that now they're posing. At my shows, I have clients or I go to the shows and I'm sitting back. I'm proud because I see their posing being nailed, okay? There's never been a real time that I'm like, oh, shit, should I start yelling out, bend over more or chest up or straighten out this arm or whatever? Not really, because that should have been taken care of. So, again, my cynical opinion, if I offend anyone, I apologize, but I'm just telling you the truth. So that's the one side of what I call the babysitting type coach. And I really believe, they also... They like the control. I mean, like I told you over 20 years ago or whatever, it felt good. It helped my ego. But I think I also matured. I'm past that. I'm much older now. And as you get older, you can relate with people your age better that are in their 50s that are competing. And it's also pretty neat because when I have that younger generation come in, my last show that I promoted, I had a 21-year-old that kicked ass. I have a 19-year-old figure competitor that's going to kick ass this weekend, and she's all the way out, Louisiana, Texas, Arizona. She's doing a show in Arizona. They're nailing it, We did some one-on-one posing through Zoom, but they embrace because I didn't have to babysit them. I've been with these people because if you work with someone long enough, they'll understand and respect the transition and everything going into a bodybuilding show. And that's what teaching is. And yes, I'm also guilty. If you're a first-time competitor thinking about competing at no matter what age, I'll tell you, I want at least 6 months with you. And that's because I can teach you that responsibility. I can teach you the ins and outs of competing for bodybuilding, whatever the class is. We can do the posing. We don't have to panic. We can deal with the life stuff that's inevitable that's going to happen. The emotions of diet and prepping, all those things that come into play when it comes to reaching any goal, especially a physical goal like this, of wanting to look your best, wanting to do your best, there's going to be ups and downs. A babysitter is not going to handle all that for you. That I can tell you right now. A babysitter will just give you the cookie cutter diet plan, tell you to stick it out. Communication's not going to be there because they get frustrated because you're not following the plan. A good teacher. I mean, if you ever have, I don't know if any of you guys listening had a good teacher in high school or college or whatnot. What's their one characteristic that really sticks out? Now, for me, they were great listeners. They let me speak. Okay? They didn't tell me what to do. They gave me just enough information for me to figure it out on my own and then with the proper support. And really, that's what my philosophy is when it comes to coaching physique athletes. Giving you the information, you to take it in, you to be able to have the independence, learning how to flexible diet, figuring out the workouts that best fit your needs at this given time with your schedule, and giving yourself enough time to look your all-time best to compete. So those are the main differences in my opinion as far as babysitting type coaches versus a teacher type coach. Obviously, I've been on both sides. I admit that. But as I've gotten older and I continue in this business, and I will for a really long time, I'm steadfast on wanting to be a teacher coach. Because again, I have lost clients. I continue to lose them because I won't go to the show with them. Not because I don't want to, because I don't have the time for it, first of all. But if that fits your needs, that's what you want. If you want someone to do every little thing, That's great because some coaches are just starting out. They can afford to do that. But then you look at some of these monster teams where there's 200 to 300 type clients, you're not getting that teacher type coach, okay? I've had clients that I've helped to win pro cards that go to those large teams because they're promised and they think they'll get all the stars. And then after some time goes by, they tell me about their experience. It was just cookie cutter bullshit, you know? But everyone has to go on your own path. You know, that's the one thing that you have to decide for yourself. You know, going on your path to figure out what works best for you is what it's all about. That's what life really is. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, I'm just trying to put information out there. I'm not trying to bash anyone or upset anyone. It's just, you know, my life experience is doing what I do. You need to figure out what works best for you. Just giving you, you know, my insight, you know, because I get along with a lot of great guys out there, women coaches and everything, and I really don't care what they do or how they do it. It doesn't matter to me, you know, no reflection at all. I don't judge people. I've gotten past that because who needs the bullshit time to judge people? You know, treat everyone fairly. That's what it's all about, okay? Because, well, that goes to my other point. Oh, I can go on. But maybe I'll leave that for another day. So, guys, thank you again for listening. I'm thinking I forgot something, but I see I'm going a little bit longer. Any questions or concerns, email me at fitfranco@verizon.net, teamfrancobodybuilding.com, on Instagram. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff. If you have any ideas or thoughts of me to talk about or ramble about, let me know. Hit me up with an email. And again, thank you for everyone for listening. I do appreciate you guys spreading the truth and putting information out there because that's just, you know, my goal as a coach. Take care, guys.